Welcome to the Long Road. I'm your host, Kris Roberts, and I'm going to touch on some really hot topics today. And before I touch on those hot topics, I want to give a shout out to Fact TV, the new guys in town. And it's important to have public access TV because I don't care, like I've said before, every media, whether it's news, cable, podcast, TikTok, newspaper, magazines, their number one priority is making a profit. If they can't make a profit, they're not going to stay in business. And so a community access TV station is extremely important because their purpose is to get out information to the public. You may not like some of the shows on here, but you know what? You can always change the channel. You can turn the TV off until that program is done with. And so it's kind of really important because with public access TV, you can get information, and like I said before, any information you get, fact check it. Because first thing is you got to ask where's the money and who is providing the information, and what is the eventual outcome of that information. It is really tough, but there's a lot. What we have right now, if you ask the wrong question, you're not going to get it. You state your opinion, you can be canceled. Now there's people that are just sitting on their butts and they're going through old Facebook things, posts, comments, what you've done on Twitter and some of the Tumblr and some of these other ones. Oh, you said this 10 years ago, so now we're going to punish you and cancel you today based on something that was you stated 10 years ago, which may not have been considered inappropriate 10 years ago. It's inappropriate today. And like I said, you got people out there, that's all they do is just, I'm going to keep looking, I'm going to keep looking. Instead of really getting off their butts and going out and get a job and contributing to society, they go in and try to tear down people just because they have a different opinion than what these individuals want. And so, Fact TV, public access TV is extremely important. Hey, if you're right wing, left wing, up wing, down wing, you know what? You can come on, you can have a show, you can say your things for 30 minutes. You know, there's limits, you don't show pornography, you don't, there's certain things you don't say, you don't cuss and all this other kind of stuff. But this is one of the few venues where you can get off your chair, that lazy boy in your living room where you're complaining all the time. Well, this right here would give you the opportunity to be vocal. This would give you the opportunity to have guests and to be able to talk about different things. And so that's how I wanted to start the show today. And like I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be kind of rough today. And I'm going to say certain things that people don't like. Okay? Let's start with the fire in Hawaii. It was tragic. Let's start with the fires that were in California over the past couple of years. Let's start with some of the hurricanes. Let's start with Afghanistan withdrawal. You know, every single one of them was preventable. Yes, they were catastrophic. Yes, they were major disasters. But in the military, you do an after-action report after an operation. And if we did an after-action report, which some of them do, Hurricane Katrina, people knew that this was at high risk. But, you know, not my problem, not my problem. Camp Lejeune water. Colonels and generals knew about that for years. So, not my problem. Hopefully nothing will go wrong. You know, if they would have cleared out some of the brush and they would have cleared out other stuff, the fire would not have gone real quickly. If the guy didn't turn off the spiritual water, the firefighters would have had more water to put out. Okay? If the state of Hawaii had a plan and saying, okay, we have a hurricane coming, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn all the electricity off in that area to prevent sparking when you have down power lines. But anybody that needs electricity to live, dialysis machine, oxygen and things like that, we're going to move them to a safe place on the island. Okay? None of that happened. Let's go to the fires in California. Oh no, we cannot have prescribed burnings. We'll just let Mother Nature. What do you think Mother Nature starts fires for in electrical? It's to wipe out all the stuff that's on the ground so new saplings and trees can grow. No one seemed to have the political courage to go to environmentalists and say, this is way Mother Nature works. Every time a fire is started, we shouldn't be putting it out. Because if we do, we just create more kindling for the fire. We give the fire the opportunity to move underground. We have Mother Nature can winds and blow it different ways. But no one had the political courage. Afghanistan. Well, you know what? There was an awful lot of people that knew there was a high likelihood this was going to happen. And so it happened. How did thousands and thousands of people, unauthorized, get on the runway? Lack of political courage. Generals and colonels had afraid to do their job. Okay? A couple of years ago, when you had the hurricane that wiped out part of Florida. Oh, we had this mobile home park that's really at a low level. You know, if the storm surge comes up at 8 to 12 feet, which is not highly unlikely, we're going to wipe out this area. So what? You know what? If we can get northerners to come down, move into these, we can make a lot of money. Okay? That high rise that fell and killed, I think, like 99 people down in Florida. There was a large number of people knew the possibility that was going to fail. you know what? They wanted to keep their jobs. They wanted to keep making money. And they wanted to keep selling timeshares and condos to people. Okay. Couple of ones, it's like, holy crap. The hurricane hit South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and destroyed all those houses. Well, yeah, but the house gives me a beautiful view. So we'll go to the local politicians, the realtor and stuff, and say, hey, let them build on there. You go, I can go, well, you know, he says, don't worry about it. We can get government insurance to take care of it if we have a disaster. And the list can go on and on and on. If you look at the number of major disasters, the water in Flint, Michigan, high up lead, people knew about it. It was criminal. All these disasters, if you study disasters, almost every single one was preventable. And the reason we had these major disasters, the reason so many homes were destroyed, the reason so many people lost their lives, were all leadership failures. And it's happened over and over and over again. And to make the thing worse, Congress doesn't put money in the budget for disasters. Oh, we're having hurricanes. Yeah, we may have major winter storms. Forest fires. Nope, we're not going to put it in the budget. Okay, we get this and say, we're going to need $20 million to fix these, to feed people for a while, to put them in temporary shelters, to give them loans. So we're going to have to do this. So we're going to add $20 million for disaster relief. But you know what? I'm the senator from Wyoming. You know what? I get this little thing in here. I need $500,000. Let's put it in. The guy from New Jersey, Kentucky, New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, California, they get to put these little riders in, little pet projects that could never pass muster when they were doing the real budget. So when you have one of these disaster relief programs, all this extra stuff comes in. It may be $20 billion for disaster, and the result is we'll pass a $45 billion bill. People go, hey, that's money coming from the federal government. We send money to the federal government sends money back. Almost a year ago, President Biden got up and says, hey, we're reducing the budget, the debt. We're doing it efficiently. Plain and simple. People are going to work. The economy is going great. The debt should fall down to about $1 trillion. Well, we got about 3.5 weeks left to the end of the fiscal year. So, right now, the deficit for this year is over $1.9 trillion. Where did that $900 billion go? Someone got it, because based on this, that's $900 billion that no one expected to happen. Or maybe the president and other people lied to us. And that wouldn't be the first time. You know, we got the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed, you know, over $1 trillion. That was outside the normal budget. And then we had the other one, so the government wouldn't shut down. We got this historic bill passed that made President Biden and it made the Speaker of the House extremely happy and were more than willing to tell the American people how great a job that they did. So, what got here? President Biden was told that he could spend as much money as he wanted. We didn't worry about the debt. While the House members go and say, hey, the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, says, you know what? We're going to reduce the projected growth in the budget by 1%. But it's still going to grow. It's here it was in June. We were worrying about the $31.4 trillion limit. Man, we got to do it. Then we came up with this great deal. As of today, it's $30.9 trillion. So just think, June, July, August, and part of September, the federal government went $1.5 trillion additional in debt. Just think of that. $1.5 trillion it went in debt after the budget, after that whatever they call that one, I can't think of it right now, that great deal that President Biden's Speaker McCarthy said was great for the American people. I don't think so. Just think, $1.5 trillion. But it's really good for the American people. You know what the median wage in the United States is? $36,005. $36,005. What can you do on $36,000? You can go, well, with that, so if 50% of all the workers in the United States make $36,005 or less, you know, $10 an hour gives you $20,000, maybe $21,000. $20 an hour gives you $42,000. So at 36, they get about $18 an hour to get to that working full time. So we take 36, and then we take almost 8% out for your Social Security. So 36, then you're losing there. So 36, so say if you went to 10%, that'd be $3,600 you lose. I think. So you can say, well, you know, have the husband and wife work. Okay. The husband and wife work, and so now they make $70,000. Oh, guess what? You make too much money for free and reduced lunch. You may make too much money to get Medicaid. you may make too much money to get additional money to pay for childcare. So, and childcare can be easily $200 a month. I mean, a week. Basically, the average child care in some of the poor states is $8,000 a year per child. Some of the more expensive states like Massachusetts, New York, California, it's almost $20,000 a year. That's not really that great. So the president saying everything is going great. Over 50% of the people can't afford rent, can't afford utilities. Then we go to going in. There's 600,000 people in the United States that are homeless. Boston has a problem because they got a lot of people, homeless people in tents living on the sidewalk. But Boston is a right to shelter state. And so everybody that's living on the sidewalk, whether it's a regular person or a person that has addiction or the person's a veteran, according to Massachusetts right to shelter law, they should be put in a place. But the aliens or the migrants or whatever you call them, they get the right to shelter. They get the free hotel rooms that are warm and clean and all this other kind of stuff. They get meals provided for them. And like Massachusetts has a big Haitian community. So most of the migrants that are going to Massachusetts are Haitian because the migrants are going to go where they have like culture. And so that's a question. And you know what the median price of a house is? $431,000. Right off the bat, that's, if we use the 35, so that's saying 50% of the workers can't afford the medium price house. Never could. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's like Massachusetts. Massachusetts has 20,000 migrants. They're only going to be in a hotel or motel for a certain amount of time. After that time's up, they're going to have to go look for apartments and places to live. It's almost like, for example, in New Hampshire. New Hampshire has about a 2% vacancy rate. And a lot of places in Massachusetts have a really low vacancy rate. And so what we're doing and looking at it, we have political leaders who are dealing with what's happening today. They're dealing with what's happened today and what do I do to make sure I get reelected in the next election. Hoping this major disaster of no housing or not enough housing hits, or how long do you keep them in motels and hotels? Oh, guess what I read today? It said the FDA is getting pretty close to approving the new COVID-19 booster. They're saying we have variant BA2.86. So that's the new thing that's coming up. Are you going to get your COVID booster? Could your employer require you to have a booster? We don't know. For the older folks, when it was 8 is enough, on 8 is enough, there was the youngest kid there, Adam Rich. He was a cute kid, did all, well, he's a grown up, but right now he's a dead grown up. They found out that he died of a fentanyl overdose. Well, they don't like to use the word overdose because, doesn't look good. Well, to me, if you take a product and it kills you, especially an illicit drug, that's an overdose. Okay, let's go to another touchy subject. Education. So, just think of it. 6 hours a day for 180 days. It's 0.84. So, if your child goes to school or your grandchild goes to school, if they took advantage of those hours, let's round it up to 1150. So 1,150 hours. That's all the education time that your child or grandchild is going to get in a year. Okay? And anything else, any outside thing that happens distracts from those hours. The couple of years ago, after Black Lives Matters, it was equity and equality and inclusion. Okay, that should be happening all the time in the course of educating the children. No timeout program. No invited people to come in. My daughter lives in Georgia, and that school district wanted to hire someone from Baltimore, which has one of the worst school systems in the country, a black woman to come down and be able to be the DEI coordinator at about $100,000 a year. The people came in and says, what is she going to do? The superintendent says, well, we haven't got a plan yet, but that's going to be the right thing to do. So about 2.5 years, people were making all kinds of money under the DEI or DIE banner. Well, now, whether it's college and businesses and stuff, and a lot of businesses and stuff, well, no, we don't do that. That should be the normal thing. Yes, co-workers can work They work together. They can go to lunch together and things like that. But is it my job as an employer to go in and tell my employees what they should be thinking, acting, speaking, and which people they should be in with once they clock out? The DEI people said yes. Well, if I go to a big city and all the Chinese live here, all the Japanese live here, the Italians are there, and the Irish there, as an employer, do I have to write and say, hey, you Italians, you need to spend more time in the Japanese community. You Chinese need to spend more time in the Irish community. You Catholics have to spend more time in the Muslim, and you other whites have to spend more time interacting with the blacks. That's not my job. I'm in business to make a product. I'm in business to make a profit. To make my maximum profit, I have to get the best people qualified. You know, it ain't like, okay, I'm only going to hire Irish people. Well, if they're not qualified to do the job, I could lose my business. So once this frenzy was over, once the people go, oh, yeah, okay, that was the right thing to do. We just did it because we had public pressure, peer pressure, and we did not want to offend anybody. Of course, finding out that the people that were running Black Lives Matters made millions of dollars and had questionable spending, and very few people support Black Lives Matters. Very few corporations, hey, I'm going to give $100,000 to Black Lives Matters, then I look cool to everybody else. I can put a little sign up there. It was a business decision to give it to Black Lives Matters. So what, hey, if my corporate taxes is 20%, I give $100,000, I get $20,000 back. Okay? Those are out there and they're going, this is my job. This is to make sure everybody in my business is treated fairly. This is to ensure that everybody has the equal opportunity to get promoted based on their talents and their willingness to expand those talents and their willingness to go more than what is expected of them. Okay? As an employee, I got my employees at least 2,080 hours a year if they work 40 hours full time. Now, let's go to education. People go to their state houses and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? So we keep adding things on that are requirements for our kiddos in school. But you gotta remember, everything that you add on in education means something else has to go out. Something else has to go out. Unlike in the business world, if you fall behind, need more training, need more production, you get to work overtime. In education, that's all you get. Okay? You know, and say, well, we should have drag you got to be really picky on what can come into your school. And if you're bringing something new in your school, if you're bringing a person to present to the class, you should be making sure that individual is adding value to the education process. Because if that individual comes into the class, that means that for an hour, that means that student could be 1 hour less of teaching time. No overtime in schools. 11:50, say, it's it, plain and simple. And even now in some schools, they go, hey, you know what? Yeah, we can go 7 hours a day. That means we don't have to go 180 because you don't have to count days anymore. You can count hours. So you go, hey, you know what? You want to go 7 hours a day? Vice 6.5? You'll have a longer summer. Okay? Now, here's a really, really touchy subject. Should the school district be getting involved in the mental health with children, which we do provide that, but for children who say they're transgender? Okay? And for a lot of school districts who says, hey, Tommy comes in, Tommy tells his teacher that I want to be Jane. The teacher says, all right, you can come into my class, you can be Jane, you can bring clothes and dress up as Jane, and you'll give Jane pronouns, and we'll start doing everything to help you feel like a girl. But don't worry, Jane, we will never let your parents know. You will be totally protected. When we send papers home to your parents, you will be Tommy. So the 6 hours a day that you spend in our class, you will be Jane. So for 180 days out of the year, you will be Jane, and your parents will never be told. So you get up in the morning, you dress up as Tommy, put Jane's clothes in your backpack or leave them in school, you get off the bus, you go to your homeroom, and then you become Jane. School's out, go the opposite. Okay, what happens on, Saturdays and Sundays, you have to be Tommy. All summer long, you have to be Tommy. Me, as a parent, I would be extremely ticked because it's also a mental health issue. Is Tommy/Jane going through a phase? Is Tommy/Jane goes, oh, wow, this is really cool. You know what? I get a lot of attention. I never got attention before, but now I'm the transgender kid in school, so I'm accepted, and I'm the cool kid. And now I have the power. If that guy that didn't like me or bully before comes up and says, hey, Tommy, how's it going? I go talk to one of the adults, and that kid gets punished for misgendering me. And so every hour of the day that Tommy is taken out of the class to address issues from Tommy to Jane, Jane and back, that's one less hour of education. Because Tommy to Jane, Rebecca to Robert, that whether they're seeing the school psychiatrist, the counselor, or the special LGBT one, they're losing educational value. And so we send our children to school to be socialized, be able to interact with other people, okay, and to learn to read and write and do math. Read an article yesterday, a college professor is really complaining. He's saying the average ability of the students in his math class is at the 9th grade high school level. So we're having school systems around the country spending a lot of time dealing with a lot of these social, mental health, and other problems, but we're saying it's in its students' best interest that the parents, so you're going to be with Tommy, say, 17 hours a day, but Jane will be in school for 7, except on Saturdays and Sundays. So you look at Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Jane is going to have to be Tommy about 72 hours. Goes back and forth, back and forth. I think that might mess up a kid's head. Another teacher in California says kids should be taught gender and gender differences and able to identify whatever gender they are starting in kindergarten. Again, without parents' notification. If someone is transgender, I have no problem with that. If they're transgender, they should be treated like any other person. They should be treated fairly, equally, and have equal opportunities to do things. Plain and simple. But I really have a concern that our public school system is getting into a lot of social issues that subtract from their ability to educate our students. Not only that, wealthy parents or middle to upper middle class parents, hey, I'm going to send my kid to a private school because I get a better, he or she will get a better education, and I'll move to a new neighborhood. Okay, and excuse me, that's what's happening. Cities are having serious problems because, if we look at Boston, we look at Houston, we look at San Francisco, we look at Stockton, we look at Chicago, we look at Milwaukee. Okay, people are moving out. And when they move out, they take their money and they take their taxes away from them. And we can say, oh yeah, that's white supremacy. White people they're just going to take their money and they're going to move someplace else because they have the ability. But you know what? Look again. If I'm black, or I'm Asian, Chinese, Indian, you know what? I'm going to go what's best for my kids. I want my kids to get better. And, okay, I grew up on welfare. I lived in the housing projects, and I was one of 10 kids. I did really well in school, and I went to college. And you know what? It never, ever, ever crossed my mind to move back to where I grew up. And if you're straightforward and you don't play the woke game or all these dancing around, what it used to be and what it still is, it's a brain drain. So every time we do this, people take their kids out, they go to private schools, religious schools, go on to college, and they don't come back. Brain drain. That's in New Hampshire. One of the problems we have in New Hampshire, a lot of kids from the small towns and everything, hey, they go in, do really well, go to college. No way in the world I'm going back. Hinsdale, Allsted, some of those towns, Jefferson, Washington, way up north, they're going, no, I'm not coming back. And so this is what we're having in the cities. They're having a brain drain. And so when you see people, oh yeah, smash and grab robberies, oh, if you complain about them, you're going to be considered a racist. Well, yeah, the majority of the people who are doing the smash and grab happen to be black. Okay? Where are the majority of the smash and grabs happening? They're not happening out in the suburbs. They're happening in the inner cities. Bingo. Because that's where the products are. Yes, I may be a woman, I may live in the suburbs, and I go, well, I'm going to drive into Nordstrom's, see if Nordstrom has that $600 pocketbook I want. Okay, I go in, I buy it. So, but if I'm a black kid, I'm living in the cities, I guess, well, you know what? Hey, guys, let's go together. Women, too. Let's go to Nordstrom's, just smash open the window, and we'll all go in, we'll fill our sacks, and we'll go out. There's nothing they can do about it. Then we can sell it in the flea market or whatever, or maybe we'll sell it to one of those upper middle class white women who are willing to pay $300 for the bag so she can be just like her neighbor who paid $600 for the bag. Look at the major cities. That because of what's going on and everything, the number of white people in cities, the big cities, is declining. The number of people of color who get educated, leave, and then don't come back. Is it white supremacy? A lot of people would say that. But you have a school system like Baltimore, only 2% of the people that graduate at high school level. the valedictorian from a college high school in Memphis. I think it was Memphis, Tennessee. He couldn't even go to college. He couldn't even go into the military. Why? Because he had a real sucky education. The woman, I think it was 7 times it took her to pass the AVAB test. And that was only after she went to basically Army training to practice on passing the test. And from her job was she barely passed the test because she became a cook, one of the lowest scores on the AVAB test. So we don't want to be honest. We don't want to be open. And you can go on. I look at the thing. I find it frustrating because no one wants to talk to each other. I'll talk past you. You'll talk past me. If I say I'm a Republican, then I'm a Trump Nazi. You say you're a Democrat? Oh, you're a socialist, liberal, woke individual. What the hell is going on? I'm the New York Times. I can lie my butt off all the time, but people still buy my paper, and I still get advertisers to put in my paper. Why? Because we have a political system, our leaders who decided the easiest way to get elected is to divide us up. Okay? How many Jews we have, how many blacks we have, how many Indians we have, how many Native Americans, Asians, bisexuals, gay people, Irish and stuff. And so you go in and divide these, and you make them all different slices of the pie. I saw this when I was helping out and supporting Senator Obama at the time, and it caused me to stop supporting him because the hypocrisy was unreal. So, because, hey, it was like, what do I say to get the Jews to vote for me? Well, I tell them what they want to hear, and being I got the Jewish support, so I got 3%. Okay, now the whites are hard, but I got to break them up. The Irish, what do I got to say to get the Irish to vote? Oh, I'll tell them, 2% of it is Irish, so now I'm up to 5. Okay, what about the gay, lesbians, and bisexuals? Okay, now I got 2 more. And so what they do, the black vote, the union vote, or they go around and around and decided what they needed to get to 51%. That's how it works. And I listened to him. I'm going, wait a minute, you're saying something to the Jews that totally opposite what you said to the Irish, and what you said to the Irish and the Jews was totally opposite of what you said to the blacks. That's why we can't get along anymore, because that's why all these things that I spoke about today, they're solvable if we're willing to talk, to understand. same-sex marriages. Once we started talking and once we understand is, hey, same-sex marriages is not a big deal. Matter of fact, it's not even a deal. And so, except for a few people who like to say I can't do this because of my religion. But, you know, it's just problems can be solved if we're allowed to talk. Problems can be solved if we keep the politics out. Problems can be solved if we don't capitulate to a small group here, to a small group there. We can call these groups hate groups, but some of the people that would like to think that are really good are pretty hateful themselves, pretty selective and divisive themselves. So before you go out and call someone they're a hate group, you should be looking at yourself too. Yeah, no question, Nazis and skinheads and stuff, they're a hate group. But, you know, some of these environmentalists are hate groups too. So it's just hard to say. And I know my time is getting kind of short. And so I'm not going to go into anything else. But I just want to thank you to allow me to do a little rambling today, get some of this crap off my chest, because it just sucks the condition that we're in as a state, as a country. We can do better. We should be doing better. And I guess we have to stop listening to self-serving leadership. So that's all I have for today, and I'll be back next week.